Hello, welcome to Fourpure at 4. We're in our brand new lab that we've been working hard on building for the last few months. Quality is obviously really important to making great beer. We care about making sure that the beer always turns out exactly as intended, which is why we invested in various instruments to help us track data throughout the process and in the final beer, so that we can make sure that what's in your glass is exactly what we wanted it to be. Quality obviously encompasses many different things, not just lab testing, but the beating heart of the quality program at Fourpure is right here in this room. It's actually probably this machine right here. Excellent camera work. This, made by Anton Parr, is an alkalizer, so it will test the alcohol content of any sample, but it'll also tell us the haze level in the beer, the original gravity of the beer, the color of the beer, and the final gravity of the beer. So that's a lot of key chemical data about each specific sample that we can get using just one piece of equipment. So this is a really cool thing to have. The other sort of main, oh, and I forgot to mention, it also measures the pH of the beer, which is also really important. The other main sort of chemical component that we are really interested in is measuring beer bitterness. So in order to measure that, we use a variety of instruments, but most importantly we have this benchtop centrifuge here, and this spectrophotometer, which we could also use to measure color and haze in beer as well. I'm moving my beer down. Besides for the chemical stuff, we also want to know what's living in our beer. And really, unless it's unfiltered, there really shouldn't be anything living in our beer, but that's why we have this micro setup. So we have an incubator here. There's actually a great story behind this incubator. We got this incubator for free from our friends at Fuller's in West London. They were actually going to skip it because it's so old. I think it's from like the 50s or something. We actually called the company that made it, and they don't have any records of its existence. We couldn't get like copies of the manual. They don't keep documents for that long. It's super old, but it works. It's an incubator and it works, and we love that this piece of equipment has history. Laminar flow cabinet, so this basically sterilizes the air inside the cabinet, which means that when you're plating your samples, you know you're doing that in a sterile environment, so you're not going to get any false positives on your plates. Other than that, it's just like more random bits of lab equipment, standard stuff like that. And the final thing that I want you guys to see, although it looks like just a table with like some wooden dividers on it, this is actually also really important. So what we did over the last couple of months was train basically everybody who works here in advanced sensory training. So we did that with our friends at Araxa, who are based up in Edinburgh. And basically what that means is that pretty much everybody who works here is able to identify 32 different key defining flavors and aromas that exist in beer, down to a level at around sort of threshold level where humans are able to detect them. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some laptops here, and every single day we're going to have members of the staff come up to the lab, taste some samples, enter the data into the laptops, and then we can sort of track the way the flavor profiles in our beer change. We can troubleshoot our process. All that data gets funneled back into a program which helps us to continue to optimize our process and improve the quality of the beer. So that's really critical. It's also really fun because basically everybody in the company is involved in that, which is great for sort of like the team spirit. Okay, so this is our lab. We spent like a long time building it. We spent a lot of money building it. The whole point is to make the beer as good as possible and as consistent as possible. And we think that this is the kind of thing that you ought to be doing if you're a serious brewer who takes what you do as seriously and as passionately as we do. Thanks for listening. I'll be taking no questions. The other thing I want to point out though is check out our website. We just relaunched it. It looks really cool. And come to the tap room and drink our beer there whenever you can. There's also food. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.